Hi, you are engaging in the ELA Guidebooks unit because of Winn-Dixie. In this video, you will learn about communities. In the novel Because of Winn-Dixie, the main character's community plays an important role in the story. Be sure to have your handout and something to write with while you watch this video. Community is a word you may have heard many times before. Community helpers are people like firemen, policemen, and doctors. Your classroom community is the group of people in your class. But what exactly is a community, and how does it help us define who we are and impact how we grow? Let's find out more. Where you live is called your community. A community is a group of people that all come together in one place. The people usually have something in common, like living in the same place or having shared interests or ideas. The community you live in might be called urban, suburban, or rural. Urban is another word for a city. A city is a busy place where many people live and work. In an urban area, many people live in tall buildings. Suburban means an area that is nearby to a city, but would have a lot of houses instead of tall buildings. There are less people, and you might call this area a town. Rural means that you live very far away from a city, and houses are spread far apart. There are farms in many rural areas. What kind of community do you live in? Urban, suburban, or rural? So now let's stop and check your thinking. What are some different communities called? Pause the video to record your answers on your handout at stop sign number 1. Match the words with the definitions. These pictures may help you to understand urban, suburban, and rural. Hit play when you are ready to continue. Some different types of communities are urban, suburban, and rural. Urban means city. Suburban means an area that is nearby to a city. Rural means that you live very far away from a city. There is often farmland in rural areas. Community is not just where you live, it's the groups that you form in the places where you live. A neighborhood, school groups, sports teams, and volunteer organizations are all examples of small communities. People can belong to more than one community. You are part of a neighborhood community based on where you live, but you also belong to a school community. A school community is made up of all the people in the school, including the teachers, students, and all that work there. People belong to communities based on their interests, ideas, or the work they do. For example, there are rural farming communities that come together to work on farms. There are urban factory communities where most of the people in the city work for a factory or a big company. Communities can be based on shared interests like work or school, or shared ideas like religion or the same culture. So now let's stop and check your thinking. What are some different communities that you belong to? Pause the video to record your answers on your handout at stop sign number 2. Then hit play when you are ready to continue. Let's check your thinking. Some different communities might be your neighborhood, school, sports teams, and volunteer organizations. Did you have any different ideas? May have the same interests and shared ideas, but not all people in one community will look or sound the same. In a community, there will be people who are young, old, of different religions, and of different cultural backgrounds. Some might speak a different language or look much different than you. Most communities have diversity. Diversity means that people are different from one another. And because of Winn-Dixie, the main character Opal makes many friends around town with her dog named Winn-Dixie. At the end of the story, Opal looks around at her new friends in her community. They are all a bit different, but all have something in common: their love for Winn-Dixie. Opal says, "I looked around the room at all the different faces, and I felt my heart swell up inside me with pure happiness." How can a community with people that are so different, or that has diversity, all get along? For people to get along in a community, they must also have empathy. Empathy means that a person can understand another person's feelings. A person who has empathy in a community understands and respects another person's point of view. When people have empathy for other people, they can see past differences and be good community members. Now let's stop and check your thinking. What are two characteristics of strong communities? Pause the video and record your answers on your handout at stop sign number 3. Then hit play when you are ready to continue. Empathy and diversity are two characteristics of a strong community. Having diversity makes a community strong since people with different backgrounds and different experiences bring different strengths to a community. Empathy helps make a community strong by helping people to get along. Now you are an expert on what makes a community. We learned about communities and how they can have diversity and empathy. As you are reading Because of Winn-Dixie, notice how many people come together in Opal's community. The friends are all a bit different, but they all show empathy to one another, and they all love the dog Winn-Dixie. When you finish this video, be sure to turn in your completed handout to your teacher.